Hey everyone, it's me, Kev. Much love to each and every single one of you. This week is week 2 of the remote viewing masterclass. I guess it's a series, but however, I don't know how long it's going to go on for. It depends how much it's requested. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to give you the answers or show you and give you some of the potential answers you could have given to show you were seeing the right place. So this is Mother Ludlum's cave, and as you can see, possible answers include bricks, stones, a stream which is at the bottom, bars obviously, a gate, water, leaves, gravel, a rounded triangle, woodland, and for extra credit, a copper cauldron, but there's also a sign telling you about who Mother Ludlum is and what the story is. Is the chapel at Brookwood train station, or Brookwood Cemetery, I should say. And if you got these possible answers, then you got some details right. Red bricks, slate, triangular, evergreens, a wooden door, stone steps, bushes, trees, archway, gravel, headstones, and for extra credit, a war memorial. Oh, and the train station, I suppose. Finally, as you see, these are the flowers and herbs that I have. Rose petals, elderflower, white sage, regular sage, thyme, oregano, mint, lavender, pomegranate flower, mugwort, and basil. For extra credit, label sticker and a transparent bag. So, how did you do? Write your answers or your comments down below. I'm going to get back to you obviously next week with the answers to this week's one. However, what I want to say is that you should try your best not to judge what it is that you see. The more that you trust yourself, even if you see things like a colour, then that could be something that's there. You can't say from time to time because, I mean, there could be different flowers, there could be different monuments, there could be different pictures, those types of things, so they do change. So even if it comes out that it looks wrong, chances are that it's not wrong, you're just viewing it from a different time. Now, I haven't really studied a lot into remote viewing myself. I mean, I know what the process is, but I actually got taught it by someone else. Now, my method is just to look in your mind at things. Now, that may not be the proper technical method that you could get in a real class. However, with this, all as it is that you're wanting to, or hopefully wanting to, open your mind to the ability. You're not looking to use it for any specific purpose. However, you're curious and you're wanting to expand your horizons or your consciousness. So, my method of just sitting there and imagining, so to speak, and looking around, it means that sometimes the details will be a little bit different. It could be I could be viewing it from the past, I could be viewing a different version of this version. I mean, I'm in a different reality to what everyone else is, so my version may differ from someone else's version, or I could be seeing a future alternate version. So, the best way to learn how to do it effectively is to trust yourself. And once you trust yourself, you'll find that you can do things like search for missing people, you can search for missing objects, you can search for missing pets, you can look for things you don't know where they are, the Pleiadians say using your inner net, which is, I guess, your intuition, but some people get confused over that idea because obviously our brain isn't technically a computer, because it's technically not even there. So we're receiving all of the information, even looking out of our eyes, we're receiving it. The thoughts that we're having, we're receiving those. The words that we're saying, we're receiving it at the same time as the thought is coming through our head. So you're constantly channeling your higher self. And with the speech, there's also vision, which works inside and outside of you. The technique of remote viewing can also be taken in legal standing. Some police and other authorities, they do take the testimony of remote viewers. A few years ago, I think it was 2009, 2010, I was living in London at the time, and I was using my remote viewing to give a testimony in court for the murder of somebody, and I was even in court remote viewing the people and their outfits at the time. So it can be very useful, and it can be very helpful to families to know exactly what went on. You have to be careful sometimes, because if you're an empath as well, you'll take on the feelings of the scenario and the energy that's there. So always remember to ground yourself, if anything. Another way remote viewing can be used is during visualization, when you're wanting to manifest something. Remember, you want to align to the frequency of the reality that you want to be in. So if you are remote viewing as such, you would be viewing exactly the future event or experience that you intend to have by manifesting. To remote view a specific person, place, pet, object, even if they're past or present, all you have to do is close your eyes and you simply say to yourself, where are you? Give yourself a few moments to accustom to the question. Think of it as a radar that's going out, and spirit will send the signal back down into your head. And to get a specific time or date for something, you have to ask for that specific time or date. Otherwise, it's just going to show you any time or any date. I have also used remote viewing to do things like for people such as Marilyn Monroe and John F. Kennedy, people like that, who have had certain things happen to them. I've looked into their case files, I've looked into actual injuries on their bodies, I've drawn out body scans of things that I've seen and recorded. So sometimes it's fun to practice, just to practice on things that you know that you can look at after and compare to see what you come up with. There will be times when there's things that you cannot get confirmation for. For example, even with me looking into Marilyn Monroe, let's say for my example, there's no guarantee that what I saw was correct, and there's no saying that what the internet is saying is correct or the records are saying is correct. What I did is I actually looked for myself. I was speaking to, in my mind obviously, speaking to Marilyn at the time. She was showing me her body. I was seeing situations that went on, and that's how I came about the information that I had. I don't do research into other things for this purpose because I don't want it to mess up anything. Even when I'm giving readings, I don't like to take any information from the person beforehand. An example of me remote viewing the past, my mum, she had a son first, and he died 9 weeks later. This was obviously before I was born. Now, after my spiritual awakening, I was able to sit with my mum and get details, 2 things that she was able to confirm. For example, I told her what my brother was wearing, describing even the toy that he had on him, the bib that he was wearing. I described the carpet and the curtains in the room, what my mum did before and after the event of my brother dying. So remote viewing can be really, really helpful, especially when you've got the ability to get your information confirmed. However, it can also be fun in that there's no end to where your imagination can show you. Now I've been using the technique for a few years myself. I have seen things like I've been to the sun, the moon, I've been to Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto. I haven't been to all of the planets because some of them are not within the scope of what I'm looking into, basically. Even now I could look at Uranus and Neptune, but there's little point in my experience to have come across them. I know they're all in different stages of their evolution, and they are all subject to change anyway, so I could only give my description of what I see there. For example, when I looked at Saturn, I noticed that it's not actually the proposed planet that we see given in animation style from NASA. And obviously, if you get any semblance of reality in your pictures or videos, they hunt you down, or they destroy your device, or they remove them from your device. They have records of everyone using things. So remote viewing is one of the best ways that you can look at things yourself. What I noticed with Saturn was that it looked like a black sphere with blue lights on the inside, and people were just walking around these, I suppose you'd call them corridors, but they were around the circumference or the radius of the planet. So you've noticed that I've taken the pictures off of the screen because obviously you will want to concentrate for this last part of the video. Now, at this current moment, I've got a crystal in my hand, a specific crystal in my hand, and I'm looking down at it. Now, because we are all one thing, you can see through my eyes. So, obviously you have to be taking part in this for it to happen, and you can't just go in there willy-nilly. Although you can, it just wouldn't be very pleasant if I caught you. Anyway, I've got a specific crystal in my hand. I'm going to change it in a moment, and I want you to tell me what this first one is. Okay, so that's the first one. I gave you a few seconds to contemplate looking through my eyes at the crystal. And now I've changed it to a second crystal, very different. Now, things you can spot here is a shape or a colour. If you know exactly what crystal it is, that's obviously a bonus. But it's not necessary to get all of the details right. You're only practicing, so don't be harsh on yourself, don't judge yourself, and don't ever think of yourself as failing anything, because it just helps your brain affirm that you're doing such a thing, and you never want to do that because it cuts you off from so many different things. So, secondary crystal, and looking. Okay, so that's them two done. Now for my final example. Okay, so this last one is a bit tricky because I'm not even going to tell you the location of where it is. I'm just going to tell you that a couple of years ago I went on a holiday with my brother, my partner, and my mum. Now, this was a place that we used to visit when we were younger, so I want you to tell me where it is and to describe it as best you can. So there's your... It's meant to be hard. Remember, you don't want to always have easy things. I will come up with more things we can look at. However, some things we're just going to have to speculate on, so it's all good for the practice. If you've got any ideas for places we can view together, learn together with, then do let me know. And just for the sake of giving you a locational example, why don't you take a look in your mind at what is at St. John's Lie? St. John's Lie. It's obviously a place, it's a location. Now, do not look it up on the computer. The idea is to look in your mind, sit, relax, chill, look at the examples. You can write out the examples, and then just anything and everything that comes to you. anything could be relevant, and I'll obviously let you know. Again, subscribe if you like this video, obviously. Share it with anyone who might want to use it or like to use it. Obviously, we're all at home at the moment anyway, so we're looking for things to do. That was the crystals, see? I'm still holding on to them. What else did I want to say? If you want to donate, please do. My thing is down there in the description box. What else? If you want some of my artwork, please get in touch. The link is also down below. Thank you for joining me. Much love to each and every single one of you, and I will be back in a bit.